Hey, yo, welcome. This is a live show in the AM. Woo! Woo! Hey, yo, now for real, man. Thank you for joining me. This is Jesse, aka the Chicano Knox. Welcome to Bible Theory Podcast. Yeah, you know what's up. Welcome to Bible Theory, homie.
Taking the church to the streets, homie.
Say what? Hey, yo, you know what it is? For those who don't know, we talk about the church from a reform perspective. We study ecclesiology. We also look at what's going on in ecclesiology because ecclesiology is not just the doctrine and study of the church, which it is. It's a great study. But a lot of people leave it in the books. A lot of people think about the church as, oh, that's just a study on a piece of paper somewhere in a fancy little book somewhere, and it's not. The church is active right now. You look around, you know what I mean? And that's the whole point of these live shows I want to start doing and start building this community as my channel continues to grow. What's going on? Hey, yo, I just passed 37,000 views on my YouTube channel. If you have not, please go over and hit that subscribe button and hit that like and share and comment down below if this is your first time here with me in this AM live. Oh, snaps. And don't forget to support a Mexican American.
Mexican Americans are named Chata and Chela and Chema and have a son-in-law named Jeff.
Shouts out to Jeff. Oh, man, you gotta love it. You gotta love it. All right. So don't forget to go over at my website, thechicanoknox.com. Sign up for that free newsletter. Don't forget to read my blog and bookmark my website. And don't forget to check it out and support me. Also, with hitting me up with a couple bucks and take out your phone and that QR code right there. And bam, send me a couple of bucks, to buy me coffee. I'll use it for coffee. If you don't like coffee, I'll use it for a cigar. Whatever it is, go ahead and support me there. Buy me a coffee. You know what I mean? I want to go ahead and start doing this on the daily. So if you can, let's go ahead and get started, all right? Because we got a long show today. I got a lot to show you. All right, so we're gonna be talking about what's his face? Russell Moore. And Russell Moore, man. Russell Moore is one of those Christians that I don't listen to all the time. I really don't pay attention to him, but like when he shows up on my Twitter feed, my Facebook, or where people sending me tweets, you know what I mean? Asking me to cover it, man, like I got to cover it, right? So let's go ahead. And for those who don't know who Russell Moore is the chief editor of Christianity Today. It's an online Christian news blog. In my perspective, Christianity Today is very woke, and it's a wannabe New York Times. It probably is sponsored by the New York Times. I don't know anybody who subscribes to Christianity Today. The Russell Moore Show is also a podcast. He's the host of it. It's a wannabe The View. That's the kind of vibes I get from like the one show I listen to it. And I was like, man, this guy's like a wannabe the View, like, Whoopi Goldberg or whatever, and he talks like Sean Hannity. You ever notice that? It's like he has that similar voice and it's kind of irritating. So anyway, he came out against one of the most popular Christian literature ever written, and that's The Pilgrim's Progress. And he came out against it. He came out against John Bunyan and all that stuff. So let's go ahead and check this clip out, and then we'll listen to it, and then we'll break it down. All right. So don't go anywhere. Check it out.
I don't like John Bunyan. I like the person of John Bunyan. I like the life of John Bunyan, but Pilgrim's Progress leaves me cold, and Grace Abounding to the Chief of Sinners even more so. And I think because I've seen so many people who started reading some Puritan literature from that time period, who became so morose and so introspective and believing there's no way they could really be a Christian. And all of the tests that they were giving to themselves, then they would test whether or not they had the objectivity to go through the tests, all of that. That Puritan era, I think, brought some things that just really creep me out. But you talk about in the book just how significant Pilgrim's Progress really was in terms of shaping everything around us, which I don't think I'd ever thought about before. I mean, I knew it was at one point the most popular book other than the Bible, but I didn't really think about how the story actually changed the way we see things.
I'm going to be completely honest here. I mean, The Pilgrim's Progress is kind of a drag to read. I mean, as even teaching it, my students love to hate it, and I love to teach it to try to, hate it with them and help them see it. And I'm so glad, actually, that I came to it as a student of literature before, more than a Christian. I mean, I was a Christian, but I approached it as literature.
I don't like John.
Ay, ay, ay. It's the gente, man. These people don't learn. They don't want to learn. There's a lot of things said in this clip. It went viral, you know what I mean? And let's go ahead and break it down. Yeah. So obviously, despite the fact that John Bunyan wrote this book in a jail cell, which is impressive. And if he was never in that jail cell, chances are he probably would have never wrote The Pilgrim's Progress. And despite the Pilgrim's Progress literary sophistication, and despite the Pilgrim's Progress being translated in over 100 languages, being printed over 1,000 times since it first came out, and topping the Christian publication charts, even topping the Bible sometimes, it has to be one of the greatest Christian literatures of all times. At least it's up there. And when you think about Christian literature, a lot of people don't think about Christian literature. There's a ton of it. So before all these pagan literature, like what's his name, Hawthorne, Mark Twain, Huckleberry, all that stuff is like literature, and it's like classics as in the modern humanistic sense. But when you remove all the humanistic literature stuff now, what do you get? You get the real Christian literature, the stuff that they replaced it with Huckleberry, they replaced it with the Shakespeare, they replaced it with all these, apostate Christian authors that came after the Christian classics. People like Augustine Confessions. A lot of people don't know that Augustine Confessions, yes, it's a biography of his testimony. It's his testimony, right? And it changed literature. A lot of people don't know what Augustine's Confession has done in Western civilization when it comes to literature. That thing was read over and over for like a millennia before it was replaced with like Shakespeare and other stuff like that. And then St. Patrick's Confession. A lot of people look at St. Patrick's Confession as a chronological thing of what he has done in Ireland, which is true and great. You should read it. But a lot of people don't pay attention to those two as literature giants. People like George Washington grew up reading Pilgrim's Progress. People like John Quincy Adams grew up reading, Augustine Confessions. Why? Because it was just natural, normal, classic literature that their moms required them to read. You know what I mean? So it's people like Russell Moore coming on this, his show with this lady. You ever see this lady before? I've never seen this lady before, man. This lady looks like Hillary Clinton's ugly sister. Like, this lady looks, no offense, but man, she looks awful. I'm like, man, who is this lady? Like, man, is she Hillary Clinton? Because I thought she was Hillary Clinton. But anyways, they both are in agreement. They're both taking this opportunity to bash Puritan literature, Puritans in general. This is just another opportunity to bash Puritans, to get rid of it, because that they wish, these Christian liberals, they have a wet dream when it comes to literature. They dream and fantasize a world without Puritan literature. They hate the Puritan paperbacks. They claim to like the Puritans, like, oh yeah, like I like John Bunyan. Like, don't get me wrong, but like I hate his literature. His literature is a drag. His literature it creeps me out. So like it creeps you out, but yet you like the guy. That's an insult, dude. That's an insult. That sounds like Roman Catholic type language when you talk about Protestants. Like, oh, we like Martin Luther, and like we don't want to discredit his holiness, his piety, his dedication to God. But man, how we hate the reformers, how we hate their doctrines and their writings, and like, oh man, we hate the Reformation. That's the kind of stuff you hear from modern day Roman Catholics when they talk about Protestants, when he talk about us. That's what I get when I hear this guy. When he's talking, it's like that's the same apologetic that the Roman Catholics use against Protestants. And no wonder he's not only woke, but like Roman Catholic vibes all the way when I hear this, man. It's an example of how this type of modern evangelical complaint against a Christian classic shows me that he doesn't understand Christian classics. He doesn't read it he doesn't treasure it, right? He probably reads all the modern garbage, like the Mark Twains and the Harry Potters and like the Twilights and like the Shack and the Jesus Calling and all these other like modern evangelical literature that is garbage. The Purpose-Driven Life and all this garbage. Right? Today is my best life now, or whatever. Part 2. That's the kind of stuff that these Christians are reading, and he's the representative. He has this pretty face with makeup on, and he invites his Hillary Clinton lookalike to bash Calvinism, bash historical Christianity, because that's what Puritans are. Puritans are the next generation Calvinists after the Reformers. They're the next pioneers of the Reformers. They're the ones that are going out in the mission field. They're the ones that are becoming the pilgrims of the New World and evangelists on the streets of England. They're the ones taking what the Reformers started, Calvin, John Knox, Luther, all these guys, right? And Beza and all them. The Puritans are like the offspring children of the Reformers. And here's this modern evangelical stoked up with his money, with his ratings and sponsors and people like that. And he's catering to them and saying, it's a drag. It creeps me out. I don't like the Christian, Pilgrim's Progress. So like stuff like that just tells you where we're at as a country, tells you where we're at as a nation in terms of evangelicalism. And this whole show, I'm going to demonstrate to you this line of thinking. I'm going to prove to you. So when you leave from this stream, you're going to be like, man, I need to pray more. This causes, if this show doesn't cause you to be burdened more for more of a robust gospel preaching in our churches, outside of the PCA, outside of the OPC, outside of everything, I don't know what's wrong with you. You know what I mean? So that's what I want to do. I want to cause you to pray more, cause you to discern more, cause you to I'm going to show you, right? I'm going to show you. So let's go ahead and let's go ahead and prove that to you. So let's go ahead and start talking about this. So let's go ahead and bring this clip up. Hold on. Of what I call the roller coaster church. Now, the roller coaster church is also a symptom of what Russell Moore is preaching. What Russell Moore believes is, in fact, what many evangelicals believe, if they know it or not. Many Russell Moore followers would say, you are just a hater. You're just blah, blah, blah. I am not. Like, I'm sure Russell Moore is a smart guy. I'm sure he's smart with his money and all these things. But he is falling in line with, heresy, unorthodox sayings, things that is like against like the reformers. But let me go ahead and prove to you the symptom of Russell Moore stretches far beyond Russell Moore. It stretches its tentacles inside many churches. Let's go ahead and watch this clip, what I call the roller coaster church, because the roller coaster church is an obvious indication of, because you don't read the Puritans, because you hate them, it also affects your worship of God in many churches. And this is what I call, like, the roller coaster church is a symptom of what happens when you neglect and reject the regulative principle of worship. And you're like, what is the regulative principle of worship? What is that? Well, the regulative principle of worship, to put simply, basically states that corporate worship, that time, that sacred, blessed time of what happens when the church gets together formally, is a worship of God. And that worship is based upon, specific directions from Scripture. That's basically how I would define it. Let's watch this clip and break it down.
Faith Church, stand up on your feet. Are you ready to ride the roller coaster of love? Come on. Come on, put your hands up. Yeah. Oh. Roller coaster, yeah, of love. Come on, you know it. Say. Come ride the roller coaster. Round and around it goes. Hey. Come on now, let me see you do your.
Oh yeah. Come on, somebody make some noise. All campuses. What? Come on, you can do better than that. Earth City, Florida, Weldon, online. Come on, everybody, give it up for Jesus today. It's a great big weekend, our first weekend of roller coaster.
Roller coaster, woo! The church, yay! Let's all applaud the roller coaster church. Yay! This pastor is so brave. Yay! He's so thoughtful. Yay! Look at all the brain cells he's killing. Wow! So impressive. All that money spent on the neon lights. How much money was spent on that roller coaster? How much money was spent on labor costs to put that thing together? Transportation costs, gas costs, all that money that that church is spending for this one event, for this series of this sermon series. And he has to use like a massive investment to prove his point, because he doesn't have the homiletics experience, knowledge, or care to actually break it down verse by verse, to break it down verbally, to paint a picture using only words with no gimmicks. This is an example of what happens in many churches, and those what I call the Russell Moore churches. These are the kind of churches that don't follow the regulative principle of worship. They actually reject the regulative principle of worship. They actually reject it. It's a total disregard of the central theme of scriptures, because when a pastor gets together on a Sunday and does the call to worship, like, one of the fundamental things that the church is supposed to do is read the Bible, teach the Bible, uncover the scriptures, right? That's what one of the main themes of a Sunday. And at this church, when you look at this clip over and over again, you get the sense like that's not happening here. That's not what's taking place here. Where's the Bible? Where's the sermon? It's a roller coaster sermon series. That's what it is. This is the fruit, in my opinion. This is the fruit of a seeker-friendly church model, which is a church growth model from the 80s. Seeker-friendly. Do what people like, and they will like you, and they'll endorse you. Try to fill the church with many people as possible, because it's very pragmatic. Like, who cares of what method you use or do? Because if you fill up the whole building, more people are exposed to the quote unquote gospel. Later on, we're going to talk about that. What kind of gospel these Christians are believing anyways, whenever they do read their Bibles. This is just entertainment, guys. This is not church. This is not discipleship. This is not the idea that Jesus had when he sent his disciples out into a pagan world, and he's like, go make disciples. He didn't say, go entertain them, go start a sermon series. In fact, go get a bunch of camels, and that's how you're gonna attract people, by getting a bunch of camels, and like people are gonna be like, what's going on in there? I'm curious. Boom, you got that. Once you struck that curiosity, people are gonna show up at church, and that's the secret. That's the seeker-friendly model. Struck the curiosity, entertain them, and the butts will stay in the seats. But once you fall into that trap, the seeker-friendly model is death trap, because once those people are like, okay, done, I'm done, I seen it, what's next is something. What's the next sermon series going to be about? Volcanoes, mermaids? You know what I mean? Like, what else is going to entertain me? So you fall into this trap of never-ending entertainment. The next thing has to be bigger, better, more explosive, more neon lights. This is more of a frequent thing that happens in many churches, and many people don't care about it. Many people make fun of it, but I'm telling you, this is a serious matter. This is what happens when modern evangelicals reject the regulative principles of worship. Because without the regulative principle, you have no metric for godly worship. You have no metric for orthodox worship. Like, everything is a green light. Why not bring out the roller coasters? Why not bring out the juggling clowns, or the prompts, or whatever, the laser shows, the smoke machines, the spotlights, churches like these, you will see the music is actually longer than the sermon. The sermon is like 20 minutes if you call it a sermon, because it's not a sermon. It's a topical thing. It's a hobby horse. It's just the preacher is yelling at you and not really communicating doctrine. And then it's back to the worship to another 15, 20 minutes. Because you add on the altar call, you add on all these gimmicks to entertain people, to make people feel good, right? Or emotional for Jesus. There's no metric for orthodoxy. Once you lose the regulative principle, anything goes, man. And a lot of people misunderstand the regulative principle. They think, it's very restrictive, man. Like, it's very restrictive. Like, no, it's not. Like, the regulative principle, if you understand it correctly, it means freedom. It means peace of mind. You don't have to come up with something new every weekend. Just follow the scriptures of what it says to worship. Sing the psalms, sing the hymns, stick to what works. Don't reinvent the wheel. There's peace of mind. The regulative principle tells us that these things are normal in the Bible. What the Bible prescribes for you to do on a Sunday is normal. Anything outside of that is not normal. It's abnormal. There's no peace in that. There's no freedom in that. And means the regulative principle means there's no gimmicks. You don't have to put on light shows. You don't have to get all the camels together. You don't have to dress up in an orange suit and try to make people like you. You don't have to invite Mel Gibson over, nothing like that. There's no gimmicks. With the non-regulative principle, there's gimmicks. There's no freedom. There's no peace of mind. It's stress. Nothing is normal. Everything is a free-for-all. It's like, what next? Oh, let's try this. Let's take a poll in our church. Should we allow elephants in? Everybody says, yeah, that would be great for the kids. I'm not making this stuff up. This stuff exists. And that's all you do when you don't have the regulative principle of worship. All you do is make stuff up as you go. You're just playing church. In fact, this church is not a church. If you're in this church, you should go. Leave. Bounce. Bizounce, man. Get out. And this right here tells us that the church needs a revival. Because a lot of people say, the church needs a revival. The church needs a reformation. And it's true. the church needs a reformation. The church needs a comeback, right? That's what my whole show is about, the doctrine of the church, because I want to reintroduce to you this big idea about the church, this grand idea. You know, the most busiest train system in Paris can take you anywhere in Europe within a day. The church is like that busy train station, right? And the church does need a revival, yes. But you can't have a revival of the church without having a revival of the principle of worship. You need both. The church cannot make a comeback without a revival and reformation of the doctrine of worship. It's one of the greatest needs in our day, yo. Like within ecclesiology, a lot of people talk about ecclesiology, but a lot of people don't want to talk about the need for the reformation of worship. All they want to do is talk about church revivals. You know, what gets people in the door, trying this, trying that, inviting Michael Jordan over to talk to the kids. It's gimmicks. It's all entertainment. And that's not what we need. What we need is discipleship. What we need is true worship that honors God. None of this strange fire stuff. Anyways, let's go ahead and take a 30-second break, and we'll be back. All right. Welcome back. For those who don't know, go ahead and jump over to the ChicanoKnox.com. Sign up for my blog. Sign up, read my, sign up for my newsletter, all free. All right, ChicanoKnox.com. All right, let's go ahead and talk about another, what I call Kim Jones lady. She's a preacher. And where are the men in this church, by the way? Where are the men? Because this here is another symptom of Russell Moore theology, Russell Moore philosophy that is affecting the true pandemic in the United States. Is not a real pandemic. The true pandemic is the lack of real Christian men leading their churches, right? And this right here is another example. Kim Jones, a preacher, a wannabe preacher. And, the reformers are interested in preachers. The reformers made a huge revival in the interests of pastoralship, pastoral ministry, and all that stuff. But this is not what they had in mind. And let's go ahead and watch this clip, and we'll break it down.
I lost my Facebook page, my verified page. Y'all think that ain't no big deal, but I lost about $10,000 a week. When that hacker came in a year ago, it took a lot of finances because I'm an empire. I got a lot of companies. I got all this stuff, not from you, but because my hustle is holy. You hear me? Because I'm leading by example. Y'all better want to see me blessed. It got hacked, and everything dried up like that. And I heard the Lord say, this is all for a reason. Facebook was making you small. It was making you, what's that word? When people are familiar with you. Common. Familiar. And where I'm taking you, they can't see you as this. In order for them to honor you and trust you, they got to see you here. I said, oh, Jesus.
Oh boy, man. This right here is very bad news right here. This lady is a wannabe preacher. She's, let's go ahead and break it down. Notice her message, the content of her thesis in the sermon, the so-called sermon, the so-called church of this so-called preacher. It's all about herself. Like, she's talking about her money, all her financial losses, about getting hacked. Getting hacked is no joke. It's a reality. Like, I feel bad that she got hacked. Getting hacked is real. It's a real crime. It's one of the fastest growing crimes in the world. So like, for the fact that she's fell victim shows you that getting hacked is real. But that's not about the sermon. She makes the sermon message a content about herself. It's not about the gospel. It's not about the Bible. Where is the Bible, by the way, in this sermon? You know, she's very humanistic. She's obviously talking about her wealth, flaunting it, boasting it, saying, "Oh, I didn't get it from you. I got it from me. It's my holy hustle." Like, yo, this is arrogance, very prideful. It stinks. This sermon stinks. You know, and she's a woman. She's a woman going against what the Apostle Paul says, that women cannot be preachers in the church, in the ministry of the church, and serving as a you know, a senior pastor, you know, whatever, a co-pastor, whatever you want to call it. Women cannot do that. Women can serve elsewhere. You know, VBS, you know, Bible studies at home with their kids. You know what I mean? Like helping. You know, like there's many roles that God has called women that is honorable, that makes the church grow, you know, in other areas, but not in pastoral leadership, not as elders, not as deacons. Women, you know, serving as pastors, deacons, elders, bishops, women in those type of office roles is a sign that men are weak in that community. It's a sign that men are not, you know, rising up to the challenge of discipleship, leadership. It shows you that men are weak. And this is indicative for like our culture. Men in the Western world are weaker men, more feminine men, men who no longer run to the front line unless they know there's a woman next to him. Called equality. It's all a scam. It's all a lie. This is a judgment on the church. This is a true judgment on the church. And by the way, what in the world is she wearing? Like, what is that? Like, yeah, she spends hundreds of thousands of dollars on her clothes and you know, all these stuff. But yo, like, she looks like a clown for real, man. She looks like a clown dressed like that, you know, wearing sunglasses, preaching. Yo, she's not taking God seriously. She's bastardizing the pulpit. She's not respecting the church at all. She's not serious. This is not a serious thing, not a serious person. I don't know who follows this person. I don't know why they donate to this church or they buy her books or whatever. This is a sad church. Very sad. It's not true church at all. And let me go ahead and prove to you from the Bible. Let me give you some evidence of where it says women can be pastors. Let me go ahead and quote some true Bible verses out there of where pastors could be women. Ready? There's none. There's no scriptures at all where women could be pastors, man. Okay. So anyways, let's go ahead and move on to something more serious. Man, when you guys send me these videos to review, I pray you guys send me some real videos. Oh man, I can't show this video because it's like copywritten. Anyways, let me go, but I'll go ahead and retweet it. Actually, I already retweeted it. So if you don't follow me on the Chicano Knox on Twitter, if you go down my feed, you'll see it. So this one right here is something more serious. It's about churches in Pakistan. Churches in Pakistan are actually small churches, very impoverished churches, churches that have children and women, older men, younger men. They're usually packed. These churches are usually packed, and they're not fancy. They're not fancy churches. Like, they're not big buildings with fancy things on them. You know what I mean? This is brick buildings, homes, libraries, and alleyways. These churches are numerous, and usually to protect themselves in Pakistan, the Christians, they gather up in communities called districts. And a lot, you know, Pakistan is a known country. It's one of the biggest countries in terms of populations in the Middle East. I think it's more populous than Afghanistan, but you know, this shows you what's happening right now in Pakistan, shows you of, you know, the American church here in the West is asleep at the wheel. It's asleep at the wheel because you got these crazy women pastors out here. You got Russell Moore talking his nonsense. You got all these things happening that I'm showing you in this live cast. And then all the while, you have some serious things going on in the world, like churches burning. Like churches burning, yo. These churches are hurting. They're burning. Christians, on August 18th, this not too long ago, are dying. Yo, it's not a pretty sight of what's going on with these churches out there. I'm trying to share my screen. I don't have it anymore. Hold on, let me see if I can pull it up. Nah, I can't pull it up. Anyways, I shared it on my thing. Too bad. But yeah, over this past week, a few days ago, last week, yeah, many churches were burnt down. Many Christians were burnt alive. Libraries, Christian libraries in these churches were burned. And then not only that, they moved on to the neighborhoods of where these Christians live because they found out where these Christians live. And they went to this neighborhood and they went house by house, started hurting these Christians, fathers, in the middle of eating, in the middle of dinner, in the middle of, all these things. They dragged them out and beat them to death. And not only that, they burned their houses down to the ground. And not only that, the Pakistani police, who are also Muslim, was siding, taking sides with these Muslim persecutors, pretending to hold him back. They were very soft. They only arrested like 100 people. It's like, yo, the government made a statement, the Pakistani government, they're like, we're going to launch an investigation. We're going to find out who did it. It's like, yo, all your Muslim people did it, bro. Pakistan is a Muslim country. I get it. It's the majority. Christianity is the minority. But yo, if you look at Pakistan as a country, Pakistan is in trouble. Like, they're on the brink of financial ruin, just like Sri Lanka. A lot of people don't know, but Sri Lanka, like, financially was ruined last year. Every single Walmart was emptied. Every single gas station was empty. Every single store, everything was just looted and empty in Sri Lanka because their value of money just collapsed and there was no money in the country. Everybody was like running to India and all that. Like, you remember that, Sri Lanka? So Pakistan is on that same pathway to Sri Lanka, just to give you a little context here. And Pakistan is one of the most corrupt governments, according to like reports of the United States, corrupt governments in the world, right up there with Ukraine, China, Mexico, and many other governments. Not to say the American government is not corrupt, but Pakistan is way corrupt. So no doubt, it makes sense that the police would pretty much do nothing to help people not die on the streets, right? Their own citizens. And if you look up the freedom card for Pakistan, they're very low for civil rights, for liberties, for all these things. They really hate Christians out there in Pakistan. Like, you think you're hated here in Chicago or wherever you live, like, you might be hated. But that's nothing compared to the hatred. Their hatred is personal out there. And and it's not even making the headlines. Like, all these Pakistanis, that are Christian pastors, Christian mothers, all these Christian children that died last week on the streets, murdered. Nobody's talking about it. Almost no one cares about it. And whenever they do it, like, oh yeah, the United States State Department came out and said, we're urging more urgency to Pakistan. It's like, seriously, that's the best thing we could do right now, is send a very nasty email to the leaders of Pakistan. Shame on the US government for doing nothing. Shame on the US the Biden administration for only sending nasty emails. That's the best thing. When Christians die, the best thing we could do as an American government is send a nasty email. Yo, you better stop. Really? That's the best thing we could do? You know, like, I'm not asking for much, but like, yo, we need to like do more than that, at least. Like, where are all the angry liberals at the United Nations rising up against Pakistan of this human rights violation of murdering innocent children on the streets? Where are they? Where are the sanctions? Where's the consequences for Pakistan? None. Where is the national? Where are all the Christian pastors right now? You know, rising up and making writing blog articles. You know, trying to wake people up and say, hey, what just happened was kind of like a massacre. And as a Christian pastor, we just want to like let everybody know that this is not okay. We condemn, you know, like solidarity, like, you know what I mean? Like, where is all these movements? Like, it's very interesting to me when like you got like other things happening, like George Floyd or like Ukraine, like you get massive solidarity, you get massive protests, you get all kinds of stuff. And then like when Christians die, like hundreds of them, you get nothing. All you get is like from the Biden administration and from the woke people are like, oh, we're going to send a nasty email. We're going to let them know that, you know, that's not okay. But that's the kind of world we live in right now, y'all. It's very sad. But supposedly there's some kind of investigation that's going to happen. Okay. But let me go ahead and read what the Bible says, what God says about this. Matthew chapter 5, verse 10 through 12. And I quote, "Blessed are those who are persecuted because of righteousness, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. Blessed are you when people insult you, persecute you falsely, and say all kinds of evil against you because of me. Rejoice and be glad, because great is your reward in heaven. For the same way they persecuted the prophets who were before you." It's true. Amen. End quote. What an amazing thing that, you know, Jesus says to those who are going to become martyrs, those who will lose their, you know, their families and their daughters and their own lives for Jesus. He says something amazing. He basically gives them like almost a guarantee, not because of their martyrdom, right? But because they're willing to stick it out for Jesus. They're willing to go the extra mile and not, you know, deny Jesus in that sense. And under that circumstance, right? Like with that pressure, with that trauma, with that realness, they're willing to stand up for Jesus, even if it costs them their lives. Jesus says that when this happens to you, because it will, that yours is the kingdom of heaven. It's like an amazing assurance. It's an amazing promise that Jesus comforts, you know, the church with. So my heart goes out to the persecuted church in Pakistan, to all the Christians that died last Friday. It's very sad. It hurts me. You know, I wish I could do more. You know, ring the bell louder. I wish I was a bigger person to make more noise about this issue, because it's a real issue. I take this personally. When Christians die and no one says nothing, I think it's a personal issue for me. Anyways, I'm not saying that, you know, those who get persecuted are real Christians versus those who don't. You know, I'm not saying that. But I just wanted to include this in my live cast here, because This is what's going on in the church right now. All the while, when many Christians are like acting like clowns on the internet, when many evangelicals are being foolish and acting like clowns. So I just want to let you know that this is going on all the while. Russell Moore is bashing John Bunyan when Kim Jones, lady clown, is preaching about her losing $10,000 a week. Christians are dying when a roller coaster church is going on. You know what I mean? You see the contrast? Yeah, I hope you see the contrast. All right, so let's go ahead and move on. Prosperity gospel beliefs. Over 50% says so. Wow. It's a sad statistic. It's a sad reality. Let's go ahead and share my screen. 50%. According to ChristianHeadlines.com, 50% of Protestants, churchgoers, 50% of Protestant churchgoers say that their churches encourage the prosperity gospel. Isn't that funny? That's actually not funny, but that's indicative of what I've been saying all day long so far. This actually starts to make sense. That over 50% of so-called Protestant churchgoers say that their church endorses and promotes the prosperity gospel. You thought that the prosperity gospel was dead? Well, guess what? It's not dead. It's coming back like Thanos. Yo, 52%, man. That's crazy. Let me see here. It says, let me read some of this. In a new study by Lifeway Research found that 52% of American Protestant churchgoers believe their church encourages them to give more money to the church and charities so God will bless them. False. Some 24% strongly agree with this statement. In 2017, a total of 38% of churchgoers said the same. So not much has changed since 2017, huh? Churchgoers are more likely to believe today than in 2017 that God wants them to prosper financially. In the most recent survey, 76% believe that. Wow, the number back in 2017 was 69%. Does that mean the number has gone up? Yo, God doesn't want us to prosper financially in a sense where we sacrifice everything orthodox just for ourselves. That's called humanism. That's called covetousness. God is against covetousness, by the way. It's one of the 10 commandments, by the way. So thou shalt not covet thy neighbor's house, which is real estate. You know what I mean? Thou shalt not covet thy neighbor's, donkey, it says, which is assets. How much of us covet? This is a problem of covetousness and pride. Obviously, a lot of this stems, like the prosperity gospel stems from greedy, corrupt, so-called preachers who want to financially enrich themselves using the church. And this is historical. Many people have gone into the church to avoid working hard in real life. And the Catholic Church is very famous for this. For many of those priests throughout history avoided real life financial problems. They avoided, going to college and getting a real job. And all they wanted to do is to escape all that. They wanted the easy life. And many of those people became Roman Catholic priests. And by the time the Roman Catholic Church hit a climax of its power and influence, that's when Martin Luther saw the corruption. And that's why Martin Luther got, enraged when he went to Rome. He saw the Roman Catholic priests doing, having sex with prostitutes, selling indulgences, and a lot of the Roman Catholic priests today say that, they agree with Martin Luther to a certain extent when it comes to the corruptions of Rome. And they said that they made changes themselves and, Rome is better. And I would say, no, it's not. There's many Roman Catholic priests having sex with children. Many Roman Catholic priests are still going into the priesthood to avoid a real job, to avoid becoming real husbands and providing for their families and etc. So these Protestant preachers are doing the same. They're not really expounding the scriptures. They're not discipling their church. They're asking for money. They're getting freebies. They're 501c3s and getting tax write-offs from the government. They're basically trying to get into heaven, very easy. They're taking the easy way. What did Jesus says about this? Broad is the way to hell. The prosperity gospel is a hellish gospel. And obviously a lot of people believe it because they want the easy way. This is very natural as humans. We want the easy way. We don't like hard stuff. We like easy stuff. That's just natural. But that's sin. That's sinful stuff. We don't like doing the hard things. We like to doing the easy things, right? The prosperity gospel is a byproduct of American evangelicalism, of corrupt capitalism, crony capitalism, weak seminaries, and liberal theology. Wow, that's a mouthful. But anyways, there's another study that came out, and for some reason, let me see if I could share this study with you. And I already thought I did, but I can't. Anyways, there's another study out there, and it shows how many Christians use their Bibles in America. And this is very fascinating. I'll go ahead and post this on my Twitter feed. But Bible users in America, it says females, only 41% of females use their Bibles. 59% of females do not. The men are worse at this. Only 36% of men use their Bibles in their Christian faith. 64% of men do not. That is sad. That shows you why there's a lot of women preachers, because many men are not men. They're not being men. Let me see. Married couples. Married, only 58% of married people. Only 42% of married couples use their Bibles. Almost 60% don't. That's sad. Never married. Let's just say people who never marry. 70% of those people never use their Bibles. In terms of the generations, like the different like the Gen Z, millennials, Gen X, baby boomers, can you guess which generation don't use their Bibles in their Christian walk? Is Gen Z. 70% of Gen Z do not even use their Bibles when they claim to be Christians. Only 30%. And it's only a little bit better for the millennials. Only 33% use their Bibles. Only the baby boomers and the elder generation, use their Bibles more than any other generation that is alive right now on the planet Earth. And that tells you a whole lot. Like, you cannot be a Christian if you don't read your Bible. You cannot be a Christian if you don't use your Bible. You need the Bible to be a Christian. That's just point blank on the daily. Evangelicals, Protestants, historical black Protestants, mainline Protestants, and Catholics. Out of these, the Catholics is the largest demographic that don't even use their Bibles on the daily. 63% of Catholics don't even read the Bible or use the Bible in their daily personal lives as Catholics. Sad. Now, wonder why they fall into like indulgences and like all kinds of silly stuff in the Roman Catholic Church, right? But the evangelical Protestants is not better. The evangelical Protestants use their Bibles less. Actually, I scratched that. Correction. The evangelicals do use their Bibles more. So I give them credit for that. 70% of evangelicals, Protestants, use their Bibles. But there's something going on here because it says women, 59% of women don't. So like somebody's lying in this statistic. Anyways, that right there just shows you why many evangelicals believe the prosperity gospel, over 52%. Why? Because they don't read the Bible. If you do the math, this explains why many Christians are attracted to Russell Moore. This explains why, because they don't read the Bible. They don't believe the Bible. They believe in the prosperity gospel. There's a reason why many Christians are attracted to preachers who are women like Kim Jones. There's a reason why many American Christians are attracted to churches that have roller coaster sermon series, because they don't read the Bible in those churches. They don't teach the Bible. Those people don't read the Bible. There's a reason why many Christians don't care about Christians being killed in Pakistan, because they want to enrich themselves. They want to donate their money to their church, to charities, because they believe that in return, God will bless them. Bad. Anyways, man, it's crazy. The prosperity gospel is alive and well. And it's no wonder why so many Christians in the West suck at theology, suck at church history. It's because they don't read the Bibles, they don't read church history, and they believe prosperity gospels, prosperity preachers like Russell Moore and Kim Jones and roller coaster churches and stuff like that. Now you know why that Christianity is sucking in the West. Is because many Christians don't use their Bibles, as 52% of Protestant churchgoers just admitted. Let's go ahead and take a break, and I'll come back. All right. So, Biblical Layman, what's up, man? Que pasa, Mufasa? Man, you doing good? Hey, man, appreciate it, bro. Any little bit helps, bro, you know? Spread the word, bro. Spread the word. You know, share the link, like, subscribe. All these things helps, bro. Helps. Thank you so much, bro, for joining. Okay, so it's very easy to like bag and to like make, it's kind of like low hanging fruit to be talking about the Kim Jones and lady preachers and like Russell Moore. That stuff is easy layups, bro. That's like, if you read your Bible, if you know church history, you read Calvin, Spurgeon, if you're up to date with orthodoxy, it's kind of easy. It is easy. It's too easy. But it's kind of like, what about the reform stuff, bro? Like they're not bulletproof, right? Like, well, yeah, they're not bulletproof. So, like, what about them? Like, what's going on with them? You know what I mean? So it's like, yes, like, we're not like without fault here. You know what I mean? There's things that in the PCA, for example, that we cannot get away with. We are without excuse as well, because there's been a study in the PCA that someone did. Let's see, what's his name? Justin Anders and Matthew Lee. Sorry if I pronounced your name wrong. But something very indicative happened. They did a study of morning and evening services in the PCA, and they found that out of 1,900 PCA Reformed churches. Let me remind you guys that the PCA is a conservative denomination. It's a great denomination, by the way. They are very interested in worshiping God. They were very interested in Reformed theology and all these things. And that's good. But a survey done, a study, out of 1,930 churches, only 238 of them have services for their church members, both in the morning and in the evening. That's 12%. That is like really, really low, yo. This whole article goes into it. And I don't got time to like go all this for you. Like it breaks it down through presbytery, yo. This is an awesome study. I'm very thankful for these guys. Let me see. Presbytery, they didn't do, let me see. The presbyteries with the greatest proportion of churches with morning and evening services. So the Savannah River, 19 churches. Canada West Presbytery, 10 churches. Westminster Presbytery, 15. PD, 19. Northwest Georgia, Pittsburgh, 24. Yay for Pittsburgh, man. Yay for Pittsburgh. Yay for the Mississippi Valley, Savannah River, Calvary, Alabama. So there's some churches that are actually doing it, and kudos for them, right? Kudos for them. Kudos for those presbyteries and churches that are addressing this problem, trying to bridge that gap, trying to raise that 12%. Let's get it higher. But I want to point out, like, there's many reasons why a PCA church don't do morning and evening services, and that's not really because of the congregation. Many times it's because they don't have the pastor to do it. They don't have the bandwidth. So that's the reason. But in my opinion, this very low statistic in the PCA doesn't help us. It doesn't help us either, because I'm talking about the evangelicals that don't read the Bible. I'm talking about those Christians that believe in nonsense. That doesn't help either. But the Reformed churches technically should be the churches that should be filled with the most people who worship God the most. You understand what I'm saying? Like, the PCA is a conservative group of Christians. I get it. They're all about the Bible, church history. I get it. That's good. But that's not what I'm talking about here. I'm talking about the frequency, that the Reformed people should be the highest frequency of worshipers in Christianity. Like, you look at the Mormons, you look at anybody else. The Reformed people should be like, yo, man, they worship God like all day, every day. Like, they do worship God all day. It's like, that's the whole doctrine of Coram Deo. Right? We live in the presence of God. Yo, everything we do is worship, bro. Like, I get that, but that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about corporate worship, that formal call to worship that pastors do. Why not do it more? Why not? Well, because we don't have enough pastors. Well, we need to get more pastors. Well, because most people don't show up. So what? If only one person shows up, that's all you need, bro, is 2 or more people to show up. And there, Christ will be in the presence of the assembly, and then you need to train pastors. I think the Reformed pastors need to train their people to be like, yo, we need to take the Sabbath day more seriously as an all-day event, not just a 2-hour event, not just 10 o'clock to 12 o'clock. You go home, do your own thing. The Sabbath day is, from the Reformed perspective, is an all-day event. And you don't just go home and do whatever you want. Like the church is not going to lock the door. Don't get me wrong, and force you. Don't get me wrong. But the churches should be training, discipling, catechizing their people, saying, hey, we need to untrain ourselves from the American evangelical Sabbath consciousness that treats the Sabbath day as a casual thing, as a duty. Like, let's get it over with. Let's just show up and leave. Like, I got it done. I'm good. I went to church. The Sabbath day is an all-day event, worshiping with the saints. Oh, what do you think we're going to be doing in heaven? Like, worshiping God day and night, all day, right? And we need to have that more in our consciousness as Reformed people, because in my opinion, look at our culture. I just demonstrated our evangelical culture right now. We live in the meta-modernism. That's what I call it. Meta. Like, forget postmodernism. We live in the meta-modernism, which is even more crazy. So we need more church. We need more preaching. We need more serious Sabbath day stuff. We need more all-day attending Christians on a Sunday. Why? Because it's an emergency. Like, it's needed. I believe there's a market for it. I believe there's people out there looking for churches that are real. I take more of a positive point of view here. So, like, I believe there's more people out there seeking more biblical teachers. And why not be the PCA to fill that gap, to fill in that role, to meet that need? You know, because I think if more churches take the Sabbath more seriously, to say, hey, we're here all day, we're going to take a break, maybe have like the first day, like, I mean, the morning service happens, right? And like you take a break where they have a potluck, you know what I mean? A meal or some kind of break. And then like a few hours later, you know, people come back together again to have like another worship service where maybe another pastor preaches, like an elder. Doesn't have to be the same pastor, right? Like every church needs to figure this out and do the calculus, but I think more PCA churches should have evening services. I think it's shameful. It's a shameful thing when PCA pastors do their own study and they show that only 12% takes a Sabbath day more seriously, like as an all-day event. We need to raise our game, yo. The statistics don't lie. Man, God help us, right? And I included that to show you that the Reformed people is not without fault. Okay, I'm not here just to bash Russell Moore and, you know, make me look good. Oh, the Reformed PCA looks good. Like, no, we have a lot of work to do, right? We have a lot of things in the church going on, you know, and we need more church. We need more pastors preaching faithfully every Sunday. And many do. Many pastors preach every Sunday faithfully to their members. And not every church is the same. But every church definitely needs to consider this as a real option. You know what I mean? Okay, to end this show, I'm going to do something kind of fun. Let's go ahead and I'm going to share my screen here. Let's see how to do this. Invite, share screen. Okay. Let's go ahead and do the most famous mugshots in American history. Because you know who took a famous mugshot recently, right? It's Donald Trump got the most famous mugshot yesterday. I thought that was interesting. But anyways, it's not a surprise to me to see him with his mug, you know what I mean? There's many people who went to jail who took their pictures, and I want to show you them so everybody could chill out and calm down. Like, yo, Donald Trump is not the first famous person to ever take a picture, okay? So I'm going to show everybody some of the most famous. And in the comments below, I want you to write who has the best mugshot, okay? If you think it's Donald Trump, that's fine. But if you think it's somebody else, let's go ahead and look at the evidence. Let's go see who has the best mugshot, all right? And you let me know. Okay, so here's the top two that came up quickly. You have Frank Sinatra on your right, my right, and you have Bill Gates on the left. This obviously 1977 speeding ticket for Bill Gates, and then 1938 in New Jersey with Frank Sinatra. I don't know about you, but man, Frank Sinatra looks like I don't know. He doesn't even look like Frankie to me. Like, I'm used to seeing him with his hat, you know what I mean, on his album cover. And then you look at Bill Gates. Yo, Bill Gates is typical, looks like a 1980 like genre kind of dude right here. 1970. Yeah, he looks like an extra from Jaws. Straight up. But out of this two, I will go with Frankie. Frankie looked more stylish. He dressed for the occasion. You know, I'll say Frankie. Let me know if you agree. Okay, next. 1999, 2000. Eminem or Jay-Z? Who you got? Eminem or Jay-Z in this one? Who's got a better mugshot? Eminem looks like he just woke up. Like they just pull him out of the jail cell at 5 a.m. and he giving them nasty glare. Jay-Z just looks like Jay-Z. Like he's just like on cocaine or something. Like Man, like he just looks like his pupils are so dilated. Like, what's going on with Jay-Z here, man? Eminem was arrested on June 4th, 2000, charged with pistol whipping a man, allegedly kissing his wife. Old-fashioned Eminem, right? The Renaissance version. Jay-Z, 1999, charged with a felony, a deadly weapon. Pled guilty. All right. I say Eminem wins this one. I'll go for Eminem has the better mugshot. Jay-Z doesn't. All right, let's go with this one. Who has the better mugshot? Jeremy Meeks or Nick Nolte, whatever his name is. Yo, Nick, this actor guy, Nick, just looks like a crazy dude. He looks like a normal, like homeless guy in the streets, like just straight up. Look at his hair. This other guy on the right, Jeremy, he's from he's a real gang member from the Crips. But man, I don't know. I'll go with the actor, man. This actor guy has a better mugshot for real. His hair just looks like the Joker. Keanu Reeves or David Bowie. Keanu Reeves looks like Keanu Reeves no matter what. He just never smiles, never like I don't know. He just looks like dude. DUI, May 1993. David Bowie is just a weird dude, like straight up, just weird. His eyes are weird, like it's just straight up weird. I say Keanu Reeves looks like a high school kid. I go with Keanu. Most famous right here, James Brown or Robert Downey. Iron Man. Iron Man. Iron Man looks like yo, I'm just enjoying the moment. Look at me, you know what I mean? And then look at James Brown, man. He just looks like, yo, I'm just here. I'm gonna smile. I'm doing my best. I'm James Brown. I don't know what's going on with his hair, man. Oh my goodness. I go to Iron Man on this one. Justin Bieber or Al Pacino, most famous mugshots. Tell me in the comments below. Man, Justin Bieber looks like he's trying too hard. Like, yo, he's just trying too hard to be like. I go Al Pacino, just straight up looks gangster right there. Ooh, Elvis Presley or Martin Luther King. Oh my goodness. All right, who has a better mugshot? I would say Martin Luther King because look at his serious face, dude. His serious face looks stoic, stone cold, like he's carrying a burden. Like Elvis was like talking to the camera guy, they caught him with his mouth open. Like he looks kind of dumb actually. But they let him wear his glasses, yo. That's how big Elvis was. He could take a mugshot and wear his glasses and nobody cares. Lindsay Lohan and Bruno Mars. Oh boy. People doing dumb stuff, right? Like we all done dumb stuff in our young days. So I'm not going to bash them too much because I've done dumb stuff too. So Bruno Mars looks like he just showed up for college. Like, yo, I'm just here to take pictures, I say Bruno Mars for sure. Okay, Mick Jagger, Mick Mill. Mick Mill looks like a regular dude off the streets, like he stole a pack. For me, he looks like he stole a pack of cigarettes here. Mick Jagger looks like he's older than he should be. Like he's 60 years old. So I don't know. I say Mick Jagger. See a bunch of look 50 Cent or this person. Sheer. Yeah, I say 50 Cent looks real, man. Look at that. He'll hurt you. All right. Obviously a bunch of people. Snoop Dogg or this guy right here. I say Snoop for real, hands down. Chris Tucker. Terrence Howard. I'll say Chris Tucker for real. Tupac, hands down. Tupac. Look at that. He's like, come on, do your thing. Take a picture of me, whatever. That's it. Most famous mugshots in U.S. history. Because a lot of people, talking about, Donald Trump took the best mugshot ever. And I was like, you know what? Let's go ahead and put that to the test, yo. Like, did he really take the best mugshot ever? And here's his mugshot. For those who don't know, like, he's angry, man. Like, he's mad. Angry. He's an angry individual right now, and he took a mugshot. And he's probably going to use it for his advantage. If I was him, I'll use it. It's probably the best marketing scheme of all times. So that's that. But a lot of people are like, man, like presidents don't, president mugshots are just weird. So I went to go ahead and take a look at it. And let's go ahead and show you some president mugshots. Let me know in the comments below who has the best president mugshot for real. Who, in your opinion, has the best president mugshot? George Washington said that he had bad teeth. That's why they never smiled. Because back in the day, there was they all had rotten teeth, missing teeth, just jacked up, man. Jacked up orthodontists. They never brushed their teeth, I'm assuming, and their teeth were black. Missing or black or wooden teeth. It's just I wouldn't smile too, bro. But look at this guy, man. George Washington is puffing his cheeks. All these homies, these presidents, no one's smiling. Andrew Jackson straight up looks like Count Dracula, dude. Straight up Count Dracula. Martin Van Buren looks like a crazy scientist. Who else? No one smiles. You know what I mean? This guy's wearing Zach Taylor, wearing his uniform. Yo, I'm an army guy. Look at me. Let's see. Anybody smiling? Anybody smiling? Nobody's smiling. And then here comes the bearded presidents right here. So the bearded mustaches right here. Who had a better beard? Was it James Garfield or Rutherford Hayes? Let me know in the comments below who has a better beard. Rutherford Hayes or James Garfield? Nobody smiles, man. Let me see. The first president to smile. Let's see. Oh, the first president to show teeth. Guess who it is? It's James F. Kennedy. JFK is the first president, dude, to show his teeth, yo. All these guys don't even show their teeth until 1960, yo. 1960 was the first guy to show his teeth. Dwight D. Eisenhower he smirked. He almost showed his teeth, yo. But he was too cool to break the tradition. But guess who did it? JFK. That's funny. And then back to this guy, didn't smile. Nixon gave a smirk. And then ever since Gerald Ford, the 38th president, everybody smiles, yo. Everybody shows their teeth. It's a new tradition. Everybody shows their teeth. Look at this. Shows his teeth. Ronald Reagan shows his teeth. Everybody's showing their teeth. Because you know why? They're all dentures. They're all fake teeth, yo. They're all implants and fake crowns and whitewash. Especially this guy. This guy has fake teeth for real. Look at that. Straight up. So everybody's making fun of Trump because of his mugshot. But anyways, I just wanted to show you some real journalistic studies of some real mugshots. So the most famous mugshots, I think, was Al Pacino, Martin Luther King. Man, I'm trying to remember. In my opinion, Al Pacino, Martin Luther King, Eminem has a pretty cool mugshot in jail. Robert Downey Jr., Iron Man, seemed like he had fun. So in my opinion, those are my top famous mugshots. Let me know in the comments below who are your famous mugshots. All right, with that being said, you know what to do. Go ahead and support your boy. Buy me a coffee. Scan this QR code. Go ahead and support your boy. And then don't forget to look for me on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, the ChicanoKnox.com. Is my website as well. Go ahead and read my blog, sign up for my newsletter. So support your boy as well as, hitting that subscribe button, helps me out a lot, man. It means a lot to me. Anyways, until next time, God bless. And Let's end it with some Ric Flair. Ready? Woo! Woo! All right, man. Until next time, grace and peace. God